What makes Google so special? I mean, there were so many search engines that came before, but how was Google able to blow the competition away? Today we're going to take a look at the algorithm which made this possible and why it was so groundbreaking. But before we do that, we need to understand how search engines work. The job of a search engine is to show you relevant pages from the internet. To do this, search engines have three building blocks. Firstly, there's the crawler. This is a piece of code which goes from page to page on the internet and makes a record of what's in them. This data is then stored in the index, which is a database of all the pages we have seen and information about them, such as their contents and images. Lastly, there's the ranking algorithm. This is responsible for finding the best pages for you from the index based on what you wrote in the search bar. The most crucial of these three is the ranking algorithm. It not only takes the billions of pages on the internet and narrows them down to a few million that are relevant to you, but also orders them so that the ones at the top are the most relevant. The main way search engines sorted results was by taking the words in your query, the words in each page, and finding which page had the most words in common with what you had written in the search bar. The problem with this method is that it's not that good. It was very easy to cheat by just stuffing pages with random words and duplicating words multiple times. And this was the problem faced by most search engines of the time. Their rankings were just not relevant enough. This is when two students from Stanford had an amazing idea. They realized that users don't care about the content of the website as much as they do the credibility of the website, as long as the page is relevant enough. So in 1998, Larry Page and Sergey Brin published a research paper showing a new algorithm for ranking pages called PageRank. The reason for calling an algorithm for ranking pages PageRank was obvious. It was Larry's last name. What are the chances, right? This algorithm would go on to become the backbone of the largest tech company in the world. The idea behind PageRank is best shown in this quote from the paper. The average web page quality experienced by a user is higher than the quality of the average web page. Basically, most of the internet is garbage, and people only care about a few websites. We know that the internet is a bunch of pages linking to each other via URLs. Well, what if we could use the links between pages as an indication of how credible a page is? There are three intuitive rules behind PageRank. A link from page A to page B increases the credibility of page B. Now this makes sense because page A deems page B important enough to link to it. Secondly, the more credible page A is, the higher the credibility of page B. Now this also makes sense because otherwise you could just make 10 dummy pages point to page B and say that page B is credible. But the quality of the sources also matters. And lastly, the more links pointing out from page A, the less valuable is the connection to page B. Think about it. The chances of you going to any given page after visiting page A are lower as the number of outward links increases. Now, we can use these three rules to calculate the credibility of a page on the internet, known as the PageRank. How do we calculate it for billions of pages on the internet? We use something called the random surfer model. This model simulates a user randomly navigating the internet from page to page. So basically me every night at 3 AM. We start off with each website having a score of 1. We then start from a random page selected from the internet. This is where those three rules we mentioned come in. To follow rule 1, the score of our new page needs to be increased. By how much? Well, our second rule says that the score of our new page should depend on the pages pointing to it. So we increase it by the scores of the pages pointing to it. But there is also the third rule, which states that the more links a page has going out of it, the less credible each link is. So to take this into account, we divide the score being added to the current page by the number of links in the pages pointing to it. Now we move to another random page and keep on doing this. Of course, the internet isn't all connected and there might be some islands of pages and we have no way of getting to them. To solve this, we also have a probability of visiting a completely random page from the internet, which ensures every island of pages is visited. Eventually, once we have traversed the web a few times, this score reaches a stable value for all the pages. Through this, we have effectively calculated the most credible pages because they will have the most links pointing to them, which means we will visit them more often and increase their score more often. And it's even better if they're pointed to by other credible pages. Now, whenever we search for something, we can find the most relevant results by checking the contents of the pages, and we can rank these results by most to least credible using the PageRank score. By the way, if you found this video credible, make sure to click the like button and subscribe. This PageRank algorithm formed the backbone of Google. It gave the users the best experience by giving them results from news sites, aggregators like Wikipedia, and websites which were used more often. It was so good, in fact, that it increased Google's market share of search engines from 0% in 1998 to around 91% right now. Of course, it's been many years since the creation of PageRank, and now Google uses hundreds of other metrics known as Google Panda. However, it is interesting to see the breakthrough that was needed for a search engine monopoly, and the kind of paradigm shift that would be needed for anyone who wishes to compete. Now, Netflix is another company which has a very interesting algorithm behind how it recommends stuff. So do check out this video I made about Netflix's recommendation AI. And for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe.